All right, we're live.
All right. What's up, guys? Shawn Bowen, Full Circle Investment Group and wholesalingoutofthebox.com back in for another lunchtime live. So today, just like the title reads, we're going to show you guys the power of Zillow, right? And how to pull some comps for those that don't have the money to pay for PropStream or have MLS access or any other fancy tools out there. This does work, okay? So, we're going to go through this today in a little bit different than we normally do, where it's just me talking to you guys. And we're going to try to do a screen share and I'll walk you through a deal and how to pull comps and what that looks like on one that we actually contracted on and then wholesaled out. And then that rehabber went in, finished, and resold it pretty much within the same lines that we had, the confines that we had for the Mayo formula. And so we're just going to walk you through that. So guys, again, if you're joining us today, click on that link above that showed you how to let StreamYard let you know where we're coming from or where you're coming from so we can see it. And for those that are watching the replay, if you would, please leave us some comments on if this stuff is helpful, if this stuff is even usable. Always love to see the feedback and help you guys as much as we can. So again, today we are focusing on comps and how to pull them and what it looks like to use it on Zillow to give you just a baseline idea. Okay. All right. So actually we'll get our screen up here and we'll get into it and kind of show you what we're talking about here. So what we have is, let's see if we can get that screen. Yeah, there we go. All right. So what we're going to have here is just going to Zillow's website. Okay. And this is the address that we're going to use. And pretty simple. Okay, this is in Norfolk. So if anybody's watching this, this works. Doesn't matter where you're at. It's the same concept for anywhere. So this is the home in the finished product. Okay. Try to see if I can kind of scroll through the pictures for you. Great rehab project. This rehabber does awesome. Really, really good finished product. Guys, when we went into this thing, this was really bad. There was holes in the ceiling. There was walls that she took out here. Just turned out to be a really, really good end product. Okay. So showing you what the end product looked like, but kind of backing into those numbers of how we got here. Okay. So the one thing that's focused here is if you're trying to start with comps to start figuring out how to condense it. Okay. So we want to look at solds, and in a price range, we want to keep ourselves minimal at the moment. We don't want to put one in so that way we can kind of start condensing later. This house was 3-bed or 4-bed and 2-bath. So we will look at that. The home type was only single family. No reason to look at anything else. Take out all this other information. And then over here, I want to look at the square footage. And I think in this case, this home was 1,900 square feet. So we'll look at everything from, let's just say 1,500 to 2,000. Okay. And that's anywhere between like 100 above what it is. And then just to go down and see what the lows are to kind of get a gauge on that area. Right. So let's say here we'll go, this case, it does 1,500. And then on this one, we'll go right at 2. Okay. And then I care about what was sold in the last 12 months. Okay. So the other part here is that you can draw boundary lines. I don't know. We've had a lot of people say they're not familiar with this, but you can draw on this map. Okay. So we'll zoom out here. And one thing I like to tell people is remember that when you're pulling comps, any major roadways, which are considered interstates, right? Or what we sometimes consider arteries, right? Which are like main roads inside of interstate or like interstates. So in this case, Azalea Garden Road would be a main road. Robin Hood Road would be a main road. And I think this is Sewell's Point Road right here, if I zoom in on it. So when I'm referring to comps, what I'm saying is draw your boundary to where you're staying inside of these areas so that you can pick up those comps first. In other areas, what's going to happen is you could jump across a main road, and an artery in this case, and you could end up in another neighborhood. So in this case, you might see Elmhurst here or Greenwood here and Sherwood Forest. if you don't know the area and you're not really familiar with it, it could go from really decent to really bad just by jumping across the street. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw this boundary line. Okay. And let's see. Let's go here. All right. So remove boundary and draw a boundary. So we'll draw it and go up and over and down. And in this case, we're going to stay right inside of Robin Hood, and then we're going to stay inside of Azalea Garden Road and connect it, and we'll apply. So now what it's going to show you is you have 11 results, okay? And the first thing you want to look at is what do these comps look like, right? So clicking on them, you want to see that they're finished products or they're not, okay? So the first thing you'll see is that most of the square footage in bed and bath are staying with what we requested, right? The 4.2s, and actually one of the subject property IRs shows up. So it's the 1900, the 1800, and 1700. So now the difference here is you're seeing some bricks, right? And then you're seeing some siding ones, and then another siding. And then you have another siding, and like there's maybe brick front, right? And then the other thing you're starting to notice is that there's some higher numbers all within the 200s, right? 235, 235, 260, 215, 214. And then you'll see a dip. You'll see one at 100,000. You'll see another one at 140. And then you'll see 180. So what we're starting to realize is here's your gap. There's a finished product number, right? So this is what everybody in the industry is calling your ARV. So your after repair value. And then you're seeing what would or should be possibly the investor buy, or what the rehabber bought it for. And maybe that's this $100,000 number, right? And maybe this $180,000 number. And then you see a 140. But majority is over 200. Okay. So if you click on it, we know this one, if you look at it from the outside, quick glance, right? We know this is our subject property. So this is a rehab. If we click on this, we want to go through it. And let's let it catch up. But this, just from outset pictures, looks like it might have been a reno. Yep. All right. So they went through. Looks like I did the investor special. Okay. Everything's in the gray tones and the light and airy type finishes. Okay. So we're going to say that is a rehab. We're going to look at this and say this is a rehab based on the pictures just from quick glance. All right. So, all right, we'll click through it. Obviously, it's a rehab. It's got your gray tone finishes, right? Okay. So the next part of this is within the square footage, let's say between 200 up and 200 down of the existing square footage is where you want to focus on. So we've got 1,700, 1,800, our subject property, 1,900, and you get down here to the 1,600, you get a 2,000, so we're not going to use that one. It's close, but we'll try to get a little bit closer, right? So 1,800, you get your 1,700. This looks like it might have been a fix and flip. Yeah, maybe somebody lived here and this was not a rehab or a very light rehab. I don't know. Anytime you see dishes and stuff like this, this looks like somebody's living here. So we'll take this one out. All right. So not a rehab. So right now, if you're writing numbers down, you would go with your original of 260, 230. And we're not going to use this as a subject property. Well, it's the one that we are using. So, I mean, if it was a rehab in the area, you could use it. So say it was 235. And then we'll use this one, because this looks like a rehab. It's 1,900 square feet. Yeah, that's your typical investor special. Okay. All right, that was actually 5.3 in 1,900, and that was 235. All right, so what I want you to do is you've got 1, 2, 4 properties. Okay. So one's at 260, one's at 230, one's at 235, and another at 235. So you want to add those up. So 260 plus your 235 plus your 235. And we've got 730. So what we'll do is we'll take that 730 and divide it by 3. That'll give us roughly 243. Okay. So in this case, we're looking at price sold per square foot. So we'll take $243,000 divided by 1,900 square feet, which is what this property is. That's $127 a square foot sold. So that's roughly what things are selling for. So if we were going to call the market, we could call it and say 243, maybe 240 is the market. Okay. So we'll use that right now as like, if this property is HGTV ready, we're going to say ARV is $240,000. Okay. So take a break for a second. Make sure we've got some people following. Guys, if you are over here joining us in live, do me a favor and just leave me a comment. Let me know where you're coming in from and where you're watching from. Looks like we have a few people on here with us. So hopefully this is helping you. If you would, leave us a comment. Let us know, yeah, it's helpful. Nod, I don't do it this way. Anything would be great just to see any interaction from you guys and make sure we got some people here that are getting some good information. So if you would, leave us a comment real quick, and I'll wait for you guys to post that and see where you're at comment-wise, see what we got. Let me know where you're coming in from. Where are you watching this from? We're on the YouTube channel. We're on Facebook. We're in our private group. And then we're in our public groups. All right, Chester, Virginia. Awesome. Hopefully this is helpful for you. Anybody else? Can you type in there for us? Let us know where you're coming in from. It looks like we got maybe 5 or 6 people here. And we'll keep going here in just a second. Hey, guys, bear with me. We got a technical microphone issue. It might be popping on you. Hopefully you guys can hear me. How's that sound over there, Ashley? We doing good? Sounds good?
Yeah, it's sounding really good.
Okay. Michael, loving the director's commentary on the podcast. Awesome. Thank you so much for watching that. Glad it's helpful. That's something Ashley's been putting together for us and getting out to you guys. So that's hopefully helping you guys. And Mike's out of Virginia Beach. All right, so let's get back into it. Again, guys, if you're joining us, leave us a comment. Let us know where you're coming in from. Let us know if this is helpful. We'll get back into it here. So basically playing catch up, what we've done is we've circled this area. We've figured out that in these areas, we have these products that are selling that are within 100 to 200 square feet of its price or of its square foot and below its square foot. Bed and bath, it could be you want to try to get as close as you can. You're not going to compare a 2-1 to a 4-1, but maybe there's enough room in the square footage that somebody might add a bedroom in there. Okay. So you're seeing here where we're going to call this 240. Okay. So now we want to talk about where it's how you've pulled these comps and how are you going to back into your formula to make that offer to the seller. This is where we do these property walkthroughs, whether it's local. If you've seen us online and you've done the virtuals, if you're interested in checking that out, check us out at wholesalingoutofthebox.com. You can see us over on the events page, and then you can go there and sign up with us and join us. These property walkthroughs are what we're going to define right now, which is how we come up to these numbers. So what's the roof cost, kitchen cost, bathroom cost, siding, windows, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, flooring, ultimately to get back to a number. Okay. So in this case, let's just say we were using 40 grand as the number. We would do $240,000. And I would say roughly, if you're comfortable, keep everything about 70% loan to value. You can creep up to 75, but 70 gets you a bigger buyer pool. So 70% gets us 168. Okay. And in this case, let's just say we got into, it would be roughly 40 grand. So 168,000 minus the $40,000 is 128 grand. So remember, the one thing a lot of new guys do, or for that matter, we've had some experienced guys do it too, is they forget to add their wholesale fee or take off their wholesale fee when they're making it to the seller. So in this case, let's just say you wanted to make 10 grand. Okay. If your offer to the seller is 128 before your wholesale fee, your offer is now 128 minus the 10 you're at 118,000. Okay. So you're not coming out of the gate at 118. You're going to start a little bit lower and then have some room to work back up. And now you get to your number. Okay. So on this property, the other part of this is like inside of pulling your comps, you have a lot of people talking about finding buyers, right? And where the buyers are at and how. So one of the big things I tell guys is like, as you're doing comps for running a specific area, go back and look at these houses, right? Go back and look. Let's go back and look at this one. This was our subject property. And remember, guys, the data that's on Zillow is usually within a 30 to 45 day lag, but it's still real numbers, right? It's recorded at the courthouse. That's where they're pulling from and giving you this information. So if you scroll through and you look at the sales, what the property was sold for and when, right? You can see when the retail sale was 235, but the original sale was 115, right? So there's a test or a rock point for you to stand on and say like, well, this guy paid 115. What's everybody else paying? So then go back to those properties and look at them, right? You got one of the 1,700 square foot. I don't remember if this is one we said. Yeah, this was a reno. So we go down here and we see this. This guy bought it for 120. It was $5,000 higher, right? And they sold for 260. So there was a little bit more profit spread that was moved there. Okay. So when you're running your comps, take the time to, go in here and really discuss or really take the time to look like, okay, I'm looking for comps to build, but at the same time, people are talking about like, where's the buyers and how do I find all these buyers? It's right there during your discovery of running your comps. Okay. Let me go back over here for a quick second and see who we had on here with us. Asif said, sorry if I said your name wrong, but I have a property in Spotsylvania. Don't know if I should wholesale it or rehab it. That's a good topic, man. If you have the ability of closing on it and you know your numbers, that's something that you can possibly run and then run your numbers backwards here. You can see what the difference would be. You're going to make 30 grand in 6 months or can you make 15 grand a day? And then we have another guy that said he's from Gilbert, South Carolina. So hopefully this is helpful, guys. Running through your comps and how we're doing this is really simple. And as you get more familiar with it, it's just making sure you don't jump across major roadways. Okay. That's your initial comp run. If you can't find anything, stay inside of the major roadways and maybe jump over a few, what we call arteries, and then zoom out and then condense down in time, right? What if you had gone back in this thing and let me go back. Let me go back here. All right, I'm not sure why my screen is not working. I'm trying to go to the top where you can go back to, go here, and then I'll close. Let me refresh this. I'm trying to go back in time. So the timeline of 12 months, here we go. So if I go back in 12 months, or if I want to go back in 30 days, I want to go back 60 days, 90 days, that's down here, okay? So you can really condense this. And like, let's say you couldn't find comps in 90 days. Can you find them in 6 months, which is 180 days? Or, you have to spread it up to what an appraiser would do and call it 12 months. So hopefully this video is helpful today, guys. A quick rundown on how to pull comps on Zillow. There's a lot of different services out there, right? You got the prop stream. Of course, if you get MLS access as an agent, there's a bunch of different platforms. I think that obviously some are paid and some are not, but this should help you, right? This should help you be able to pull your comps so that you can get more familiar. So just a refresh over this was going for the address, going 200 square feet up and 200 square feet down, and going from 90 days to 6 months to 12 months is your stretch to pull comps. And then from there, you just want to see if it's within the same square footage, right? And then make sure it's in the same time frame. And obviously within that condensed area, not over major waterways, major roadways, and obviously arteries. Stretch it out if you need to. But again, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us today. Hopefully this was helpful. On the replays, I would love to have you give us some comments and some feedback. And guys, if you ever need anything, always check us out at wholesalingoutofthebox.com. There's a lot of different things over there that can help you in your wholesale business. If you're local, even if you're not, You can join us at some of our live events. We'll have one coming up this Friday. So Ashley might be able to pull that link and we can add it over here to the activities, or we can put it up here on the ticker, but it's wholesalingoutofthebox.com. Go to the events page and you'll see where we have our office meeting. That is virtual and physical. So we're doing those. And hopefully we can meet some of you guys in person. If not, we'll help you online. But thank you again for taking the time to watch this and, of course, watching the replay. As always, if you need anything, we're here. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. Bye.